How's it going, guys? My name is Ziggy, you're watching Zintuitive, and today we're going to be going over breakthrough moments. Now, I used to think breakthrough moments were something completely random. Some people got lucky, some people stayed stuck. But after further research and after looking into it, I noticed there are ways you can operate, there are ways you can act in the world to set conditions for these breakthrough moments to happen. Okay, so simply put, there are things you can do to better the chances that you encounter a breakthrough moment in your life, whether that's pursuant of a goal, any desire you have. And I implemented these steps in my life and I started seeing these breakthroughs happen, okay? Important things that started happening in my life that I can directly connect to the way I was acting, operating, and things I was saying, okay? The way I acted in the world caused these breakthroughs to happen because what I was doing was setting the conditions for it to happen. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 3 points that really helped me so you can walk away from this video with a better chance of encountering a breakthrough moment in your life. All right, so the first point, and probably the most important, is you need to be brutally clear in what you want, okay? And this is something that's often overlooked, and I used to overlook this as well. You know, I had goals, I had dreams, but they were very vague. Like, I want more money, or I want a business, or, you know, people want all sorts of things, but you need to be precisely clear in what you want. If you want more money, how are you going to make more money? What avenue would you like to make? What avenue would you like to take to make more money? Do you want a business? Okay, what business do you want? And if you're not sure, just try and get as specific as possible. You know, if you're just saying you want a business, well, there's millions and millions of businesses. All right, there's a common saying that the universe can't give you what you want if you don't know what you want. So again, you have to be brutally clear on what you want. Okay, a vague desire equals a vague life. And if you're not specific, it's going to be hard for you to encounter this breakthrough moment, all right? So the first thing I suggest you do is just start simple. Make it simple. You don't need to go too crazy. Get a piece of pen and paper. Start writing out what you want. All right, not everyone knows exactly to extreme detail what they want, but the more specific you can make it, the better off you're going to be. Trust me. Again, I used to be very vague and nothing would happen in my life. It wasn't until I got very specific and very concrete on what it is I actually wanted, I started seeing things around me change, opportunities arise, okay? All right, and this brings me to my next point, which is remove what is in the way. And what I mean by this essentially is sacrifice, all right? The universe is very giving, but you have to be willing to offer things up to get what you want. All right, one of my favorite stories ever written was, I believe it's the second story in the Old Testament, which is Cain and Abel. And it's a story of sacrifice. And I think this can be applied throughout any point in human history and even today. All right, if you want something, you need to offer up the correct sacrifices. All right, Cain didn't offer up the correct sacrifices, Abel did. And in return, Abel inherited what he wanted. He inherited gifts, blessings, Cain didn't. And the difference between their sacrifices, because they both sacrificed. It's not that Cain didn't sacrifice, they both offered up sacrifices. The difference was intent and quality. Why did Abel offer up his sacrifices? Well, he had good intentions. And what did he offer? Well, his sacrifices were of good quality, meaning they were hard to give up. Cain, on the other hand, was the opposite. Cain's intentions weren't good, they weren't well hearted, and what he offered was easy, it was cheap, okay? And those were the differences between Cain and Abel. And that's why Abel received his blessings. So you need to start giving up things in pursuit of a goal. I'm sure you can think of 5 things off the top of your head that you are doing that you can give up, all right? And the harder it is, the more likely you're going to be blessed in return. Okay, let's say you get home from work and you play video games for 4 hours. All right, what I don't suggest is just going cutting it off cold turkey, because a lot of people do it for 2 days and then they'll stumble back into their old habits. Just for the first week, pick something you're doing and slowly cut it out. If you're playing video games for 4 hours, for the first week, cut it down to 3 hours. Okay, after that, cut it down to 1 hour and do it progressively. You don't need to look at all the problems in your life and tackle them immediately. Make slow, consistent changes. And this is what I did, and it works, okay? Because we all know those states we get in where we're anxious and we're like, oh my God, I'm doing all this stuff wrong. I need to stop this. I need to stop this. and you do it for about a day and then you just fall back into where you were. So take gradual steps when you're offering up your sacrifices. All right, so simply put, people want transformation without loss, and that's not how our reality works, okay? A breakthrough will cost you something. Now, it depends, how bad do you want this breakthrough? How bad do you want this moment? If you want it badly, then you'll be willing to sacrifice these things in your life that you know you shouldn't be doing. So that brings me to create space for insight. Now, what I mean by this is that in our modern day, the most valuable currency is our attention. And from the moment you wake, from the moment you go to bed, there is a war for your attention. Now, all this constant consuming is leaving no space in your mind to have organic, original ideas, all right? Every breakthrough throughout the course of history came from geniuses who were in tune with themselves. They had a rich, deep internal world that they would consult for their ideas. Look at Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, Alexander the Great. Doesn't matter what field they were in. If they were a military genius, scientific genius, philosophical genius, it doesn't matter. What they all had in common was that they were in touch with a vivid internal world. And this internal world brings intuition, creativity, insight, and this is something you have to reconnect with. And the modern world is pulling you away from this, okay? All the constant consuming, okay? The Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube, the news, it's all pulling you, what it's doing is pulling you away from yourself. And you yourself are creative, okay? You possess a gift, which is consciousness. And you have to begin using consciousness and have it as a friend, because you'd be surprised how creative you are, and the ideas you're looking for can come from yourself. So again, when you're constantly consuming, it's difficult to hear yourself think. And who knows better than yourself what to do for a breakthrough moment? You have to start trusting yourself. You don't have to, when you're looking for ideas, when you're looking for a creativity, yes, it's good to, look for information and study and see how other people did it, but you can't merely rely on this, because the people in history who had their breakthrough moments didn't rely on other people. They didn't rely on other people's opinions. They relied on themselves. They consulted themselves. Then once they had the idea, then they went out into the world and shared ideas and see how it would work, talk to people. I believe this is the right way of doing it. But if you're looking for that initial idea, don't just rely on the internet. Don't just rely on other people, all right? So to conclude, most people spend their lives waiting for a breakthrough moment. But breakthroughs aren't like lightning strikes. They are the natural result of clarity, alignment, reflection, and sacrifice. And when these things come together, the breakthrough isn't just forced, it becomes inevitable. So thank you guys for watching this video. I wanted to keep this short and concise and straight to the point. I really hope you learned something, and if you did, I would greatly appreciate a subscription or a like or a comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.